This evening, we are going to be talking about morality. And it's very important that we talk about morality, especially when we are talking about living spiritually or sacredly. It's important that we talk about morality because a lot of people like to talk the talk but not walk the walk. And living in integrity and ethically is walking in your talk. So, yeah, we're going to discuss that today. So, in my experience, the more I studied and the more I became spiritually awakened, the more I realized why certain knowledge was treated as a quote unquote secret or hidden. Spiritual knowledge gives you access to a lot of power, and some people have the propensity to do evil when given power. They tend to abuse it. So, in certain spiritual systems where you are exposed to occult knowledge, you have to go through an initiation first, where your morals are tested. After that, you are expected to behave responsibly with the knowledge that you were given. Many of our African spiritual systems have been displaced into the hands of Europeans, mainly the Cabalistic system, which, if you didn't know, has African origins. These people have been using this system to empower themselves and oppress others. It's the most current and perfect example of the absence of morality. In Jamaica, the African spiritual knowledge here is called Obeah, but there is no system of initiation. In fact, the practice was made illegal by our colonial masters years ago. It's still illegal today. And it's difficult to organize something that is illegal. So within Obeah, no moral codes exist. And when African people are out of their element of community and proper guidance, they are influenced by wrong. So many people use Obia to do wrong in Jamaica, not seeing the greater benefit to themselves and community in using it for good. But even the book called the Obia Bible, I told you guys about this in a previous episode on L.W. de Lawrence, the Master Key. He also wrote the Obia Bible, but it was originally called the Great Book of Magical Art, Hindu Magic, and East Indian Occultism. And it speaks heavily on morality in the beginning. And it actually includes a lot of the teachings from the Cabalistic system. And so people in Jamaica used to use his books and his information as a guide to Obeah. And so I guess that's why they call it the Obeah book. But again, there's so much valuable information in this book that people could use to be able to use Obeah properly. But as usual, without proper guidance, ones will skip the instructions and the warnings in the book and go straight to the recipes. And that is a recipe for trouble. And this is also why I think rites of passage is important. Initiations are some form of rites of passage where you go through stages of learning how to live, how to do certain things. Through every stage of rites of passage, you learn about the ethics of whatever it is that you are being initiated through. But that's, again, what's missing from our culture. You know, in African traditions, rites of passages are very important for young boys, young girls, into manhood, into womanhood, into every phase of life. There's a rites of passage, right? And through these, you will learn how to live morally. To be a truly spiritual person, to me, it is absolutely necessary that you perfect your morality. I think we don't talk about it enough, but we think we do. The entire Christian doctrine is based on morality, but it is also based in fear. So it's not effective in truly inspiring people to live right. Most Christians do what is right out of fear, a fear of going to hell or being punished by God, but not because they have a desire to really do the right thing. I think morality is what some refer to as uprightness in Rastafari, but it's also a struggle there. Mainly, I think, because there is so much copying of Christianity, and also because the movement has been infiltrated and the true essence of Rastafari has been lost. Imagine that, the West's last hope. Lost. But the father of Rastafari, Leonard Howell, did leave a blueprint for ones to follow, and so did Prince Emmanuel from the Babashanti tribe. Still, many have gone astray. Today, there are few of us who are on a journey to sacred living because we understand that it is necessary to live a balanced life and also for the continuation of life. But do humans have a propensity towards immorality? I don't think so. We just aren't inspired to live morally because we've been confused into thinking we need fear to do so. It's something that Jordan Peterson talks a lot about, and yes, he's a Christian, but I love the way that his teaching is in tune with objective reality. You can hardly find delusions in his arguments. Years ago, I binged on Jordan Peterson lectures till I eventually bought his book 12 Rules for Life, An Antidote to Chaos. But he's spoken a lot about how most people don't do wrong just for fear of judgment, and that really doesn't make them a good person. Sadhguru, the Indian guru, echoes a similar sentiment and goes further in saying that we don't even need morality, as it means we're trying to be good. Trying to be good. If we are living as we should, we would only know oneness and see everything and everyone as a part of us. When you see everything and everyone as yourself, you don't need instructions on how to relate. You just have a will to do and be good. So what we have to do is expand our ability to love. Live on the frequency of love, and you will always want the best for the other person. I also think it's important to be a defender of truth. There's freedom in truth as it saves you from deceiving yourself and others. Speak the truth and encourage it from others around you by creating safe spaces for truth. In Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life is a chapter called Tell the Truth, or at least Don't Lie, where he explains how the truth can be difficult and uncomfortable and sometimes unpredictable, but in the end, it can only be good for you and the receiver. He also encourages you to give proper thought to what the truth is and how to express it before doing so. In the ancient Kemetic spiritual system, Kemet is what Europeans call Egypt, there is a goddess called Ma'at. And their gods and goddesses aren't gods as in the religious sense. They are attributes, divine principles that one should live by. Ma'at is the goddess of truth, justice, balance, and order. And as a daily reminder to live upright, there are 42 laws or principles of Ma'at, which, by the way, was copied by the 10 Commandments of the Bible. But what I love about the 42 principles of Ma'at is how differently it is written from the 10 Commandments. In the 10 Commandments is embedded a lot of fear. Thou shalt not, or else. The 42 principles of Ma'at is like a check-in with self. So instead of thou shalt not, you say, I honor virtue. I live in truth. I create harmony. I achieve with integrity. So it's like affirmations. And the thing about affirmation is words sound power. You become the things that you speak. So ultimately, I think living morally comes from a willingness to live right. Become righteousness. Live in that frequency. Not because you are told to do so or because there will be consequences if you don't. Just do it because you desire to do right and be right. So that concludes the first season of the Sacred Living podcast. Yay! Sila. So yeah, that concludes the first season of the podcast. I want to thank everybody who tunes in every week to listen to the podcast. You guys encourage me. And even on the podcast platforms, I thought, who's really going to listen on here? But I see that quite a few people are listening, and it encourages me to do the other season that I want to do in the upcoming year. And I'm aiming for the spring equinox. I'm aiming to start the new season, the second season then. So I'm so excited and happy. We were able to get through 9 episodes, and yeah, I'm just proud of myself. I'm just very proud of myself. Yeah, very proud of myself. I feel like I achieved a lot, and I have so much more in store, and I have so much more to learn about this process, and I think I have grown quite a bit through it. And I think I will get better with time. I figured, this is definitely something new for me. And yeah, hopefully we grow and get better, and who knows what's in store. But more than anything, I hope that the information that I share here has been really useful to you, and you can use them and really apply them to your life, because that is really the purpose of it. A reminder to myself, because yes, I may know some of these things, I have knowledge of certain things, but I'm not perfect, and so I don't live perfectly every day. So these are reminders to me of how I want to live, how I desire to live, and reminders that I should stay on this frequency that I want to stay on, into living a sacred life. Thank you so much for listening tonight. Thank you for subscribing. If you've subscribed on the YouTube channel, if you haven't yet, please go ahead and subscribe. Also, check out the sponsor of this podcast, my baby, Tropique Naturals, for some amazing self-care and wellness products. So take care of yourselves, and we will link up next season for the spring equinox. All right, infinite love and balance.